What's up, YouTubians? Gary, VW Jawbreaker. Welcome back to a quick little video today, where today we've got something really cool to show you from vintage air-cooled parts. I like this little thing, so let me just take you in and show you. So basically, they've come up with a really cool alternator bracket. So they have them in two different kinds. This is the black, and they also have a silver. Now this is a full billet aluminum. This is the top half. Your bottom half, of course, goes a little different. It just kind of bolts together. Now there is a couple caveats here. One, you need to use an empty alternator stand. This is actually fit for an empty alternator stand because the back side is slightly different. On my car, I'm running a stock one. So we're gonna have to go ahead and pull that out, swap that one, and then we'll be able to go ahead and install that new bracket. Now, the bracket will work with either a center pole linkage or your top linkage. It will only work with a dual carburetor setup. A single carburetor setup with your intake manifold going under the alternator, the bracket will not fit, and that bracket will not fit an MST alternator stand. Totally different design. So first things first, in order to pop this puppy on, we just got to do a couple quick things with the engine. Now, if you're not 100% sure what alternator stand you have, it's just a matter of emailing James over there at Vintage Air-Cooled Parts. We'll put all that information down below. He can send you a stand. Now this stand is the normal silver color. I just went ahead and hit it with some black paint so it'll match the engine better. The only thing I had to pick up were some alternator stand gaskets. So normally, let's just say on your car, you've already got an aftermarket empty alternator stand. You literally just take off your original strap, bolt this one on, you're done. If you've got to change the stand, well, luckily for us in this situation, it's easy access. There's two different ways. One, you can drop your engine so you can pull your fan shroud off, do it that way. The way we're gonna go about it is we're gonna go ahead and pull the alternator belt off, pull the clamp off, probably go ahead and pull this off, and then I should be able to loosen up the fan shroud and just cock it up to one side. Then we can pull the four nuts, pull the alternator stand out of the way, and just kind of let this hang. Now we could, in theory, pull the four bolts and slide this whole thing out, but the center pole linkage, that's right in the way. So that won't really work for us. So first things first, we need to go ahead and start pulling a few things off. So we'll go ahead and time lapse that and we'll show you how it's done. All right, now with all that out of the way, there is usually a 13mm bolt there, nut underneath, and that's what loosens up your clamp. And from there, there's usually either a sheet metal screw or a 10mm bolt or something right there that'll hold your fan shroud down. Now, you cannot lift your fan shroud all the way up and out due to the fact that your oil cooler sits up in here. You can't get your fan shroud up high enough. That's why if you want to remove the fan shroud altogether, it's easier to just go ahead and drop your motor. Do it that way. So we'll go ahead and get that off, and then we should be able to go ahead and prop this up high enough in order to get the alternator stand out. Now with your alternator bracket removed, the side removed over there, we should be able to lift this up just high enough, and we'll take like a little block of wood. In theory that should work. Stick that right under there, and voila, we now have room. We now have room in between the alternator and alternator stand. Should give us just enough clearance to go ahead and pull these bolts and remove that stand. These should be 13 millimeter unless something on yours has changed, but there we go. Let's move on. All right, there we go. Little wood trick worked out well. Was able to get it up just high enough to sneak it out. Is able to sneak it out that way. Always make sure that that's in place. We'll go ahead and clean all that up, and we'll go ahead and get ready to start installing that new alternator stand. Now, since that bottom plate did not lift up, the oil deflector plate, since it didn't lift up, what I'm going to do is only use one out of the two gaskets. We only have a gasket, the metal plate, a gasket, and then your stand. What we're going to do is just use one. So we'll use a little bit of, I like to use the ultra black silicone, real thin layer on one side, one thin layer on the other side for this. Now, since we have this out, I'm going to go ahead and show you the back of the stand and show you the bottom bracket. This bottom bracket only really goes on one way. Because if you try to put it the other way, it doesn't fit. See? It does not fit. So you need to make sure that when you put it on, it fits properly so it grabs the stand properly. Alright, well, a little bit of silicone. Let's go ahead and put this new stand on so we can go ahead and get this new alternator bracket installed. Like I said, we got all that cleaned up. I like to put a paper thin amount of the sealant on there. Go ahead and drop that in place. And now for the other side, instead of trying to get sealant on that with the studs in the way, just put it on the bottom side of the item. In this case, the alternator stand. So again, with a real thin layer on there. There we go. So that works. Set it up on there and rotate it in place. Perfect. Now, just reinstall our hardware. Alright, so we've got our two supplied bolts that come with the kit, along with a 5mm Allen wrench. But like I mentioned, this back bracket only goes on one way, and this back taper faces back. So that's just going to loop around, like so. And our top will go on. We'll go ahead and get one bolt started on one side. We'll go ahead and start the bolt on the other side. I'm actually going to use an actual Allen wrench instead of this because the side of this, I don't want it to dig into the aluminum. So let's go ahead and snug those up. And we'll leave a small even gap on both sides. We'll show you that here in a minute. And these don't have to go super tight. You want them snug, but you don't want to put all the force you have into it either. There we go. Now, last thing to do, so we want to spin. Make sure our fan's not hitting because your alternator can move back and forth, and that will cause your fan to rub inside the shroud, but we're good. All right, so like I said, there's a tiny gap on both sides. You want it pretty even. What that does is allows it to pinch down and really hold it in place, but man, that looks nice. So honestly, the only thing left to do is for me to put my breather back on, put the belt back on, and this is done. All honesty, including having to record this for you guys, set up camera, the whole 9 yards, this was only about a 20 to 30 minute install. Simple, easy, really not a whole lot to it. Again, if you have the empty stand already in there, just take your original bracket off, put that one on, you're done. If you've got an MST, it's not gonna work. You've got an original German, it's not going to work. You can modify either the bracket or the stand if it's a stock stand. I don't remember. Again, email James. He'll be able to tell you all that. If you're not sure what you have, shoot him a picture. He'll be able to take care of you. So anyway, let's go ahead and get this thing buttoned up so we can be done. Well, ladies and gents, that's it. That's all she wrote. Nice, simple, clean install. Absolutely love it. Gives a nice little bling to it without being, I don't know, too gaudy or anything. It's just, I don't know, it's a nice little touch. So again, make sure you check out vintageaircooledparts.com for all your cool accessory needs. Reach out to James. His email will be down below and on the website as well. If you have any kind of questions, he's always willing to help people out, talk to them, help explain products if you have questions. Awesome guy. So again, this is something I wanted to do. I thought it was a really cool product. Figured I'd go ahead and toss it on the car, because why not? It helps also support local business and a good friend. So why not, right? All right, so thanks so much for sticking around. Make sure you be kind to one another and be good.